Hello, greetings. How are you doing this evening? I'd like to make a video on a topic that I haven't seen anybody discuss, at least not for a really long time. And I guess I should call this video Fujifilm Love and what it means. And I don't mean subjectively, I mean objectively, because, you know, if I talk about my subjective feelings on some things, people would say, well, that's nice, but how does that apply to me? So, you know, to be universal is to be helpful. I think somebody said that at one point in time. I was out for like 5.5 hours shooting today with my GFX 50R. I also brought my X-T3. I didn't shoot with my X-T3 much, not for any particular reason, but I had on there my Voigtlander 50mm f1.2, which I think is the best 50mm lens made, and 50mm lenses are really very boring. I really don't like them, but that lens is incredible. And it's a Voigtlander manual focus Leica M mount with a Leica M mount to Fuji X adapter. And I recently got to try what Olympus refers to as peaking on their cameras, and it was really good, but it was still nowhere near as good as Fujifilm. And I thought, up until the time that I tested the Sony A9 like a 1.5 years ago, and last year I was out and about with the new Sony A7 III, the new camera, and I'm not attacking Sony, but I thought before testing those cameras that Sony's peaking would be at least as good as Fujifilm, and possibly better, and it's nowhere close. I mean, I've even had a lot of hardcore Sony fanboys tell me the same thing. You know, like, I really love Sony, but you're right, I've got a Fujifilm camera and the peaking is a lot better. And it is. And a couple days ago, I got offered a Leica 9P, but that camera, and I got offered a price on it that was so ridiculous. If I didn't know the guy, I would have thought it was stolen. It was so cheap. I mean, it was just ridiculously, unbelievably cheap. It was like 70% less than every other camera, but Leica had an issue with those sensors and its corrosion, and there's a large number of those cameras that are affected. The sensor cover glass is affected by corrosion. So you can look it up, type in Leica sensor corrosion, you'll get tons of results. It's so bad that Leica has come out and admitted it. And I've always wanted a Leica monochrome camera. And there's two types. There's the Type 240 and the 246. The old one was an 18 megapixel, and that one was subject to corrosion, sensor corrosion as well. And they're really obnoxiously expensive. And I used to own some Leica film cameras back in the day. But the problem is, and I've heard this from many people, and I've had my hands on once, Leica monochrome once. I'm getting to Fujifilm here very quickly. The buffer on the Leica monochrome is so bad that countless people have got rid of their Leica monochrome, because when you take like 2 or 3 shots in a row, the camera will sit there and choke like someone choking on a piece of steak, you know, for 12 plus seconds, no matter how fast the card is. And so you miss the shot. So you got this obnoxiously expensive camera that is just slower than frozen dog shit in the middle of winter. I mean, it's obnoxiously expensive. And I have at least 220, probably more. I got over 500 lenses, but at least 220 plus manual focus lenses. And I love the hell out of a lot of them, and you can get a lot of them really, really cheap on eBay. I mean, everybody's talking about Fujifilm lenses, and that's wonderful. You know, I've got all the X series lenses and all the GFX series lenses, but I mean, why not go on eBay and find some of these fantastic, freaky, unique bokeh lenses that are like 40, 50 bucks? I mean, you get some fantastic lenses that are just incredible for 40, 50 bucks. Some old Takomar 55mm f1.8, it's really, really small. Get yourself a little $20 K&F adapter, which is the adapter I recommend on eBay. This is what I mean in this video regarding Fujifilm love. There's just this titanic mountain of decades and decades of manual focus lenses that are incredible and fun to use, and Fujifilm's focus peaking And there's a new type of peaking in the X-T3 that I actually asked Fujifilm for really, really bright sunlight, that even if you brought the peaking up really bright in red or white or blue, that it was better than everybody else's focus peaking, but it was still an issue seeing it, and Fujifilm introduced that into the X-T3 here. But it's so wonderful using the X-T2 and the X-T3 with these inexpensive adapted lenses. Like, why would you, if you own every X series lens, why would you use these inferior lenses that are undeniably nowhere near as sharp as Fujifilm lenses? Because they render a magical detail that you can't get with any Fujifilm lens. I mean, swirly bokeh, like using that 85mm 1.4 Zenith lens. Here's something else that's really important too. I've got a pile of old, tons of actually, let's be honest, tons of old manual focus Nikkor lenses. And I've got better manual focusing technique than most people. Yeah, I do. I'm not trying to brag. I'm stating that as a fact. Many of these lenses at f1.2 are like that 85mm Midicon, which is not a Nikkor lens, the 85mm 1.2. You just screw it. I don't care how good you are. You're not going to nail it on a Nikon camera, and it's a Nikon mount lens. But all these old manual focus Nikkor lenses too, at f1.4, f1.8, kind of sort of depending on the camera, the f1.2, you know, screw it. I don't care how good you are. Those lenses on a Fujifilm with the peaking, just, you're going to nail it every time. You're just going to nail it. So those Nikkor native lenses made by Nikon for Nikon are far more pleasurable, enjoyable, and wonderful to use on a Fujifilm camera than they are on the damn Nikon they were made for. You know. That's just a fact. I would own a couple Leica cameras. The monochrome really is the only one I want. But I mean, I have a few Leica M-mount lenses, and I'm not a Leica hater, but they're obnoxiously overpriced. The buffer absolutely sucks. And those Leica M-mount lenses work way better and way faster. I don't care how much you like Leica. Say you've been shooting Leica for 30 years, right? You're really fast manually focusing with that rangefinder camera. Well, I can take that same Leica lens that you love and you've been using for 30 years, slap an adapter on it for $15, stick it on my Fujifilm X-T3, and I guarantee you, if it's a fast lens like a 1.4 or a 1.2, I'll nail it faster on autofocus and have a higher hit rate of nailing it. Did I say autofocus? Have a higher hit rate of nailing the focus than you will with that same lens you're so familiar with on your Leica. I mean, that really is kind of the definition of Fujifilm love. These Leica lenses are way better and easier, even if it's a Voigtlander, an off-brand Leica mount. Way better and way easier on the Fuji. Far, far superior. Fujifilm undeniably has the best focus peaking of anybody. The native Nikkor lenses are better on the damn Fujifilm cameras than they are on the damn Nikon cameras. I mean, to, you know, once again state that to be objective and universal is helpful, especially in making a YouTube video. I mean, that's declarative. It's not subjective. And that really is, I don't hear anybody talking about that fact. I haven't seen anybody ask me or talk about on the boards like, hey, you know, I got this wonderful Fujifilm camera, I love it, and several Fujifilm lenses, but, yeah, I went on eBay and bought like 3 lenses. All 3 of them together were like $100 for all 3 of them. And, man, they're a lot of fun to use. They've got unique contrast techniques, attributes or unique bokeh attributes. And they're just a great joy to use. Well, they are. The Voigtlander 58mm f1.4. That Midicon, that gigantic 85mm Midicon 1.4 lens. It's just absolutely incredible. Fujifilm has nothing like it, and that lens is built like a Rolls Royce. I mean, you can get one used for like $400. So I really think that's a really key attribute of, should I say Fujifilm love? I guess that's what I'm going to call this video, but I mean, that's an objective statement. Because subjective videos, and, you know, while they might be cute and fuzzy, like, I like this camera because, you know, the silver matches my bald head, or, you know, something, wasn't that wonderful for you, right? But, you know, how the hell does that help me a damn? Those videos are not very useful, but I think a lot of people don't really make that consideration. You know, there's a bazillion of these really inexpensive used manual focus lenses out there. And, I mean, damn, all you have to do is buy a freaking $15 adapter. Buy one of these M42 mount lenses. Or a Nikkor AI AIS lens. Or even a pre-AI lens. They're cheap as hell. They're fun to use. And the best ones that are cheap have unique bokeh characteristics and micro contrast characteristics that Fujifilm lenses, as great and as sharp as they are, just don't have. Sharp images don't make award-winning images. My favorite images I've ever seen in my life that are just stunning, I would like to have huge prints of them hanging on my wall, are fuzzy, grainy, old damn film images. Sharp does not translate into award-winning images. As much as I love sharp lenses, as much as you love sharp lenses. Sharpness is really overrated. What is it Henry Cartier-Bresson said? Who said it? Someone said that the worst photograph is a sharp photograph that was conceived from a fuzzy idea. It's something like that. The worst photograph is a fuzzy idea. Yeah, is a sharp photograph of a fuzzy idea. Something like that, which is true, you know. Ah, man, look at this image. It's so sharp. It's like, yeah, but that image sucks. It sucks. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope you like these videos. If you do, click the link below, and you can tell me how much you hate me. You know, I don't like that guy. He's bald and tattooed, and he rubs my fur the wrong way. Whatever.